why don't we flip it on its head? Why don't we start talking about the gender sex gap between men and women? So I know that I think it's the bottom 80% of men on Tinder are competing for the bottom 20% of women.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was a fascinating finding. Yeah, where they basically found, exactly what you're describing here, that, men who are not, exceptionally good looking or have certain status markers, they're having a much harder time on Tinder. Just to put this into perspective, if I recall these numbers correctly, men on average swipe 60% of the female profiles they see. They like them. Was it swipe right?
Yep.
They like those profiles.
Don't pretend you don't know, Robert.
I know. Let me pull up my app real quick. Check. And then whereas women, on the other hand, I think it was 4%. They swipe right on 4% of the male profiles they see.
That is an unbelievably low number. I mean, just purely from a time investment standpoint. Right. You're going to get through 100 people to get four right swipes, and if you have a particularly bad afternoon, it's not a ridiculous stat to think you might not swipe right on anyone. Unbelievable.
It's almost like the experiences are completely different, right? Whereas, I mean, like I once this wasn't a psychologist. I just in a casual conversation, I once heard someone describe the sort of difference between men and women in terms of how they evaluate the opposite sex. Whereas something like men look for reasons why they wouldn't sleep with a girl, whereas women look for reasons why they would sleep with a man. So the default position for men is, I would sleep with her unless there's some extraordinary reason why I shouldn't. Whereas for women, it's I'm definitely not going to sleep with him unless there's some particular reason why I should. And this is sort of, we're seeing this on Tinder, right, with the frequency of right swipes. So so basically there's a large group of men who are collecting large numbers of likes. I have a friend, and you probably know guys like this, who are racking up huge numbers on these dating apps. I have a friend who has, something like 20,000 plus matches on Tinder. I think he closed it down. He ended up getting a relationship and, he settled down. But for a while,
I'm surprised he didn't break the fucking servers.
Yeah.
He closed it down because Tinder came in and they said, "Oh, sorry, we just can't give this account any more storage space with your 20,000 likes."
Yeah, shut it all down. No, it was actually the opposite. I don't know how this happened, but he was Tinder identified him as like some kind of valuable user and like gave him all of these perks and benefits and like lifted his limitations on how many swipes he
was
could
it like
make.
Amazon Prime or something? If you've ever actually spent more than £1,000 in a year on Booking.com, you get to become a genius. And Booking.com, being a Booking.com genius is fantastic. You get 10% off. You get early check-in. So I wonder if he got like early check-in and
it's essentially the equivalent of that. No, I've never gotten those privileges. Sometimes Amazon sends me complimentary protein bars.
Nice.
Because I order so many of them, but I've never anything like free Amazon Prime. But yeah, so you have guys like my friend here who has all of these likes, and then you have other guys, and I think this is probably more typical of the male experience on dating apps, where they go through dozens or hundreds of profiles and get maybe a handful of matches with women. And so, this is sort of the typical male experience where, the competition is tough. And one thing I'm concerned about now with the economic downturn is that it could get tougher.
As women,
more guys losing their jobs.
Yeah.
A handful of guys, maybe, guys who can work from home, podcasters and so on, who, have stay-at-home gigs. Things might turn out pretty good for them, but for other guys,
he is hoping, Rob. He is hoping, mate. I'm fucking just been praying. I've just been praying for a pandemic to happen so that my dating situation can improve.